Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Nam, Tasmai Shri Gurave Nam, Sada Shiva Samarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryantam, Vande Guru Parampara. सब प्रत्यवायो की अहम इति आत्मधि अज्ञ प्रसिद्धाः न तु तत्वदर्शिनः तस्मात् बुधैः त्याज्यम् अविक्रियात्मभिः विधानतः कर्म विधि प्रकाशितम्. We have covered up to this 23rd shloka in our last session. यदा परमात्मा आत्मविभेद भेदकम विज्ञानम आत्मनि अवभाति भास्वरम तदा एव माया प्रविलीयते अंजसा सकार का कारणम आत्म संस्कृते. So in the 18th shloka we saw when with the realization of the self, the difference between Jivatma and Paramatma, the difference between the Jiva Jagata Ishvara, they are all destroyed in the light of that knowledge, all these Veda. Tada eva maya praviliyate anjasa. That is when this maya is instantly dissolved or destroyed instantly. Which is the cause? Sakaraka karanam atma sansrute, which is the cause of this jiva sansara. The cause along with the effects and their modifications, everything is destroyed. Like on waking, the dreamer and the dream world and the dream experiences, all of them disappear instantaneously, anjasa, instantaneously. So when we wake up to the absolute reality, pure self, similarly, this waking world also of these names and forms and different experiences, that becomes meaningless in the sense that we understand the reality behind it. Now we give zero value to the waking world because it has got only relative reality and therefore zero value is given. Earlier in delusion, we used to run after that. When we do not know the truth about the mirage water, we will of course run after that, and especially when we are thirsty. But then when we know the truth about this mirage water, even if we are thirsty, we will not run after that. So that is the realization of the self. That is extremely important. Sakar ka karanam atma samsrute. Then we saw Shruti pramana abhivinashita cha sa katham bhavishyati api karyakarini vijnana matrat amalat dvitiyatah advitiyatah tasmat avidya na punah bhavishyati. Now if there is a doubt that what if this maya plays its tricks again after we realize the truth, so Prabhu Ramchandra ji clears that doubt in this particular shloka. So once that maya is destroyed, it stays destroyed. Then we don't get deluded by that maya. And the example that is very good to explain this is that once that milk is converted into curd, there is no question of that curd again going back to being milk. No, absolutely not. That is the apt example for this. So one need not fear that after realizing the self, what if the maya plays the trick again and we get deluded again? There is no fear for that. After realizing the truth, the pure knowledge, which is thought-free, objectless, pure awareness or blissful awareness. Then, yadi sma nashta na puna prasuyate kartaham asya iti mati katham bhavet tasmat swatantra na kimapi apekshate vidya vimokshaya vibhati kevala. Now, once that Maya is destroyed, of course, there is no doership notion. This sma pratyaya is used in the present to bring out the meaning of the past tense. So, when that is destroyed once, then there is no question of falling back into the same thing again. Kartaham asi iti mati kat. So once that ignorance is destroyed, what the Samuchayavadin says that you have to do the karma throughout and all that thing. Once that doership notion is destroyed with the realization of the self, then there is no question of this pratyavaya dosha that I am the doer of this karma, this karma is a bad karma, now I will suffer because of that and all that thing. So that doesn't come. There is no question of that. That I have done this karma and all that. So, tasmat swatantra na kimapi apekshate. Therefore, the path of knowledge is perfectly independent and nothing else is required. It is independent. It can be practiced separately and nothing is required else. No assistance from anything is required. Unlike in karma or in yajna or karma kanda, we need a lot of accessories. If you are doing yajna or havan, then we need those accessories, no doubt about it. But for karma, that is not required. Tasmat swatantra, independent, kimapi apekshate, there is no expectation, nothing is required for that. If you talk of integral yoga, then serially it can be practiced. First do karma, purify the mind, and then pursue the path of knowledge. That can be done, but it cannot be done simultaneously. Karma and jnana cannot be practiced simultaneously by the same person at the same time. It will then be a contradiction. Vidya vimokshaya vibhati kevala. Vidya alone is enough to give the realization of the self. So, this is an important aspect. That doesn't mean that should we give up all the other practices. If we come to that level, then we can give it up. It will all fall off of its own accord. The important factor is that what is the purpose of doing other practices? We do japa, we do upasana, we do puja, we do chanting. They have their purpose, they serve their purpose, but only by doing this realization, they have a purpose to purify the mind. We do the karma to make the mind single pointed, to increase the concentration level, to increase the shraddha. For these things, they do help. But just merely doing that, generally, grahasthas have this wrong notion that if I go on pilgrimage, I do my puja every day, I keep fast on the particular days, and I give dana or dakshina. So I am doing my duty. That is all that is required to be very spiritual. No. That is okay. That is, kartavya karma is there. Fine, that if you are doing it. But that alone doesn't give the realization. So that wrong notion should not be there. As we have seen in Bhajagovindam, Adi Shankaracharya very clearly says, Kurute Ganga Sagara Gamanam, Vrata Paripalanam Athva Danam, Jnana Vihina Sarva Matena, Bhajatina Muktim Janmashate. Whether we go on pilgrimage, we do vrata, we do puja part, we give dana and all that thing, that is all fine. It has got its own place. But just by doing that, if we think that we can realize the self or we can get liberation, then we have misunderstood the whole thing. They have their purpose, they have a limited purpose to serve, but that alone will not give that realization. So one has to be very clear in this. Having said that, Sa Taitriya Shruti Aha Sadaram न्यासम प्रशस्त अखिल कर्मणाम स्फुटम एतावद एतावदी इति आह एतावद इति आह च वाजिनाम श्रुतिः ज्ञानम विमोक्षाय न कर्म साधनम. So now Prabhu Ramchandra ji in this shloka quotes the Shruti. Once we have thoroughly analyzed, intellectually, rationally, scientifically, logically, we have analyzed, that is called as Yukti Pramana, and come to the right conclusion. And of course, we have also taken the example from the world of phenomena to ascertain the same thing. And now the Shruti Pramana is given. This is the way, as we discussed last time, anyone can make any statement, but that statement will be accepted only if it is proven at the four levels: Shruti Pramana, Yukti Pramana, Dushtanta Pramana. Prove that statement logically, scientifically, rationally, intellectually, that has to be proven. And having proven that, then give the example from the world of phenomena to prove that statement, and then quote the scripture to prove the same statement. And finally, the final pramana is the anubhav pramana. So, by our own direct subjective experience, it has to be proven. So here also, now, Prabhu Ramchandra ji follows the same path. So he quotes the scripture here, Taitriya Shruti Aha, Taitriya Arnakam, because in that it is emphasized that Nyasam Prashasta Akhila Karmana, very clearly it is said, Nyasam Prashasta Akhila Karmana, that is, all the karmas have to be completely given up. In this Taitriya Aranyaka, even in this Kaivalya Upanishad, it is very clearly said, Na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyagena ki amrutatva manashu. So, neither by action, neither by karma, nor by progeny, nor by wealth, but by tyaga, by renunciation, by giving up all that, nyasam prashasta kila karmana sputam. Then amrutatva manashu, then only this immortality one attains. And similarly, Vajinam Shruti, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also, it has said, Etavadera Khalu Atma Amrutatvam. Etavad. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. While Yajnavalkya is giving the teachings to Maitri, in that also he clearly says that for the Atma Bodha, the sadhana is not karma, but it is jnana. It doesn't need any karma at all. Because karma arises from the duality, Dvaita. Without this sense of duality, that I am there and this world is there, and the various names and forms are there, and then the ego is there, then a desire to attain something in this world, then we have this doership notion, we involve in karma. And this, unless that duality, sense of duality is there, there is no karma. There is no karma in the deep sleep state. Karma is in the waking plane, and in the dream state also there is some karma going on. Because there is a sense of duality even in the dream state, but not in the deep sleep state. So this is how it is clearly said. So he has given the Shastra Pramana also. A Siddhanta has to be proved on the four levels, including the Anubhav Pramana. So here he has given the Shastra Pramana. So Jnanam Vimoksha and the Karma Sadhana. It is very clearly said in these both Shastras, it is the knowledge that is required for liberation, moksha from the limitations, and not karma. Then Vidya Samatvena tu Darshitastvaya Kratuhu na Drishtanta Udarata Sama Falaihi Pratakvat Bahukarakaihi Kratuhu Sansadyate Jnanamataha Viparyayam. Now the Samuchavadins, now this is addressed to Samuchavadins, because Samuchavadins had told that this Vidya, that the knowledge and karma can be practiced together. And they had given the example of you need a lot of accessories to do the karma. So for jnana also you need the assistance of karma and so on. So here Prabhu Ramchandra says that the drishtanta, the example that was given is wrong. That is not the correct example. Why? Falaihi pruthakvad bahukarakai kratu. Because in karma gives different results. Karma and jnana both give different results. And moreover, for karma, you need a lot of accessories also. And therefore, they both cannot be simultaneously practiced. Karma gives a temporary result. The results that we get after action, they are impermanent, temporary, fleeting, passing. But the result that comes from jnana is permanent, eternal. Once we know the self, there is no going back to the old thing, to the life of ignorance, where we suffered so much. Sansyādyate jnanam ataha viparyaya. So they are contrary. The results are contrary. Plus the approach is different. For karma, lots of accesses are required. For jnana, it is not. For karma, again, we have seen the mind has to be extrovert, bahirmukha. For jnana, mind has to be introvert, antarmukha. So it has to be withdrawn from the outside world. Here for karma, it has to go into the outside world. How can they both be practiced simultaneously by the same person at the same time? That is not possible. Plus the results are also different. So the Samuchavadin's argument that they should be practiced together is not acceptable. Then Sat Pratyavayah hi aham iti anatmadi ajnah prasiddha natu tattvadarshina. Tasmat budaihi tyajyam avikrayatmabhihi vidhanatah karma vidhi prakashitam. So this Sat Pratyavaya, that is the Pratyavaya dosha. If I don't do this karma, then I will incur sin. For whom this is applicable? Here, he aham iti atmadihi. For whom it is for the one who is ignorant of his own self. Ajnaha prasiddha. This is the well-known fact for those who are ignorant. For them, this will be applicable, that if I don't do this karma, I will suffer from the Pratyavaya dosha, sin. But this is not applicable. Natu tattva darshina, not applicable to the one who has realized the self. So, tasmat budaihi tyajya avikrayatmabhihi. So, the one who has realized, he gives up all the karma because he has known the self to be actionless and it is not subject to any modification. Avikriya atmabhihi, actionless self. Vidhanatah karma vidhi prakashitam. So, he gives up all the karma that is prescribed by the Vedas, the Vidhivat karma. Now, up to here we had seen in our last session, we will start a new shloka today, shlok 24. Shraddhan vitastattvamasi vakyatah guru prasadadapi shuddhamanasah vidnyaya chaikatmamabdhatma jivayoho sukhi bhaven merurirva prakampanah. Shraddhanvitah tattvamasi iti vakyatah guroho prasadat api shuddhamanasah vidnyaya cha ekatmyam atha atmajivayoho sukhi bhavet meruhu iva prakampanah. So now Shraddhanvitah, the one who is endowed with faith. Faith, that is, the Shraddha is faith plus element of surrender, not just mere faith. And we have discussed this so many times, that element of surrender has to be there, without which the meaning of Shraddha is not complete. And what is this element of surrender? If we are completely surrendered at the feet of our Ishta Devta or Sadguru, or there has to be one altar in this world where we completely surrender. And that is the only test, if we are surrendered or not. What is the test? if we have surrendered completely, there will be no trace of worry whatsoever regarding anything in any corner of our mind. That is the only test of complete surrender. If we have some kind of worry in any corner of our mind regarding something, there is some flaw in our Shraddha. Our surrender is not complete. You see, in Mahabharata, there is one event where Draupadi is being disrobed by Dushasana in the darbar, in the hall, and everybody is sitting quiet. All these Dhurandhars, Bhishma Pitamaha, Dronacharya, all these Dhurandhars, they were all sitting quiet and doing nothing. Of course, that Dhritarashtra was anyway blind. He couldn't see anything. And then Draupadi is calling for the Lord. Krishna, Krishna, she is calling. Now, about this event, she is telling Shri Krishna. When they are in the Vanvasa, she is telling this Krishna. She told this Krishna that you came late. Since how long I was calling and you came late? So then Krishna tells her, so that in the palace hall, when she was being disrobed, she was calling Krishna all right, but she was also trying to hold on to her robe. She was going on calling to Lord Krishna and trying to hold on to her robe while she was being disrobed. And then when she gave up holding on, and then she said that I surrendered to you, that is when Krishna immediately appeared. So that means though she was calling him, she was thinking that she can protect herself. She was not totally surrendered. When she left and raised both her hands, that is when Lord Krishna appears in the form, takes the form of Vasta. That's total surrender. So that was what was missing. So Krishna said that the moment you uttered Krish, I was at Indraprastha. I was at Hastinapur. At the border itself, I was there, immediately there. But then you didn't allow me to come. And when you surrender totally, that is when I did my job. So, Shraddha, Shraddhavantaha, that is very important. On the whether we are on the spiritual path or we are not on the spiritual path, just in samsara, without Shraddha, we cannot live. You see, Shraddha is very important for day-to-day living also, Shraddha. Our life depends on Shraddha only. We plan for tomorrow on Shraddha only. We set alarm for tomorrow on Shraddha only. Without Shraddha, our life would become a hell. If we have doubt about everything, our life will become hell. And this is what it is. Samshaya Atma Vinashyati. That Shraddha has to be there. Imagine if we doubt everything, right from waking up in the morning till going to sleep. When we go to sleep, if we have no faith in the people who constructed the bedroom, what if the ceiling falls on me? If there is slightest doubt, I will not sleep in that room. When we get up, we are surrendered at the feet of the toothpaste maker. So we put the toothpaste. Yes, it's put only toothpaste, pure toothpaste in that, not any poison. Or should I send a sample for testing? No, we are surrendered there. We immediately use it on the brush and brush. And similarly, when we are getting into the vehicle, we are surrendered to the vehicle that it will not break down. We are surrendered at the feet of the driver also, that he will not cause any accident. If we have any doubt about the vehicle, that something is wrong going to happen in this vehicle, we will not get into that vehicle. Or if we have doubt about the driver, we will not sit in that vehicle. So we are surrendered. That Shraddha is there. Every moment, if we keep on doubting, our life will become hell. So Shraddhavantaha. And this Shraddha has to be in four things. Shraddha in the absolute truth. Shraddha in the scriptures that talk about that absolute truth. Shraddha in our Sadguru. And then, last but not the least, Shraddha in our own self. that we can achieve it, we can attain it. We are that alone. We are the divine self alone. There should be Shraddha in that also. So that is very important. So Shraddhavantah. And then Shuddha Manasaha. Shuddha Manasaha, that is the intellect, the mind has been purified. Shuddha Manasa. Through Nishkam Karma Yoga, we have purified the mind and we have total Shraddha. These are required to follow the path of knowledge. So Shraddhavanta Shuddha Manasa. And then Tattvamasi iti Vakyataha Guroho Prasadapi. Now, with the grace of the Sadguru, then we contemplate on this Tattvamasi Vakya, that thou art. And now we are experts in that after Vakya Vritti. Tattvamasi iti Vakyataha Guroho Prasadat. Then Vidnyaya, then one realizes Cha Eka Atmam Atha Atma Jivayo. There is a perfect identity between Paramatma and Jivatma. So once we have purified our mind, we have totally surrendered at his feet, purified the mind, and then contemplate on the higher reality, study of the scriptures and contemplation on the higher reality with the grace of the Guru. Then we realize that there is perfect oneness between Paramatma and Jivatma. Having realized that, so this oneness is very important. So that which expresses a Jiva, Jagat, that is the world of names and forms, and Ishvara is nothing but that pure self alone. So it is the manifestation of that one pure self. Having realized that, this is the goal of life, realizing the self. Sukhi bhavet meruhu iva aprakampana. Sukhi bhavet. Then we attain that infinite bliss. That is the goal of everyone. Knowingly or unknowingly, we are all seeking that bliss, that happiness. Knowingly, very few, those who have taken to spiritual path, and those who have understood, those who have had viveka, to know that happiness is not in the external world. It is definitely there, but definitely not in the external world. It is somewhere else. And that we have to realize. So once we realize the self, then we know that it is the source of infinite bliss. We are ourselves the source of infinite bliss. We are of the nature of infinite bliss. Then there is no seeking, no running into the world. Sukhi bhavet. And Meruhu iva aprakampana. Meru Parvat, like the Mount Meru. Aprakampana means at all, not at all disturbed by anything. Nothing disturbs that state. Even all the factors around us, they may be against us. They may be non-conducive, unfavorable to us, but it doesn't make any difference to us. Once we have realized the self, because we are into that infinite bliss. Now, whether the external world is favorable to us or not favorable to us, what does it matter? It doesn't matter at all. This is an important factor. So, Sukhi Bhavet. There may be, it doesn't mean that the external world becomes all conducive to us as soon as we realize the truth. No. As soon as we realize the truth, we have already seen that. Once we realize the self, we know that external world has got only relative reality. That has got no actual reality. So in ignorance, you are running into the world to fulfill our desires, to eke out some joy, pleasure, or happiness out of this world. And now what has happened is, now having realized the truth, that there is nothing in the external world, and then I myself am the source of infinite bliss. There is no going anywhere. The ego is not there to identify with the body, mind, intellect, equipment. And therefore, this is the ayatana of sukha dukkha. So that is also not there. Whether the external world is conducive or non-conducive, favorable or not favorable, it doesn't matter to us. It doesn't disturb us at all. So, meru iva akram. prakampana. So like the Mount Meru. So not at all disturbed by anything that is happening in the external world. Then in the 25th shloka, Prabhu Ramchandraji says, now here he begins this Tattvamasi, understanding this Tattvamasi iti. Adau padarthadavageti karanam vakyartha vijnana vidhau vidhanatah tattvam padarthau paramatma jivakau asiti chaikatmathana yor bhavet. Adau pada artha avagatihi karanam vakyartha vijnana vidhau vidhanatah tattvam padarthau paramatma jivakau asi iti cha ekatmyam atha anayoho bhavet. Now, Adav pada artha avagatihi. Vakya artha vijanitav. Vijana vidhav. Now here, first of all, it is a known fact that before we understand the sentence, we have to understand the meaning of each and every individual word according to the rules of that language. This has to be understood very clearly before we can come to the entire meaning of this sentence. And then Vidhanatah Tattvam Padartah Paramatma Jivakau Asi iti cha atha anayoho bhavet. So in this sentence Tattvamasi, the Shabdartha of Tat is, as we have seen so many times, that is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, Sarvavyapi, Ishvara, with total mind or total vasana or Maya as its upadhi, and Tvam, the meaning of Tvam, the word meaning of Tvam is the upadhi of that same self with the upadhi of ignorance, which is limited by time, space and object, and is Alpajna, Alpashaktiman, Alpavyapi. So that is the Jiva. So now the identity between these two, so that is not easy. Now Tattvamasi indicates that the total identity between these two. Now we have seen the Upadhis. One is Sarva Shaktiman, that is all powerful, and the other is Alpa Shaktiman, limited in power, limited in pervasiveness, limited in knowledge, and the other is all knowing, omniscient, omnipresent. So how can these two entities be one? So that is not possible, that is not acceptable. Therefore, Prabhu Ramchandraja, he has put the word atha here. Then anayoho, that is in between the two, what is to be understood is the lakshartha. Shabdartha will not give the meaning. So therefore, the indicative meaning of the Shabdartha has to be taken. Not the Lakshartha has to be taken, not the Shabdartha. The word meaning should not be taken, but the indicative meaning. Lakshartha. Now, in the 20th, Pratyak Parokshadi Virodhamatmanah Vihaya Sangruyya Tayoshchidatmatam Sanshodhitam Lakshanaya Chalakshitam Jnatva Swamatmanamathadvayo Bhavet. Pratyak Parokshadi Virodham Atmanah Vihaya Sangruyya Tayoho Chidatmatam Sansojita Lakshanaya Chalakshitam Jnatva Swamatmanam Atha Advayoho Bhavet. So now, as seen earlier, if the direct meaning of Tat and Tvam is taken, then this Tattvamasi Vakya doesn't make any sense. So now, therefore, Pratyak parokshadi virodham atmanah vihaya. So what is to be done now? Therefore, these opposing factors like pratyak and paroksha. Pratyak is immediate and paroksha is something other than I. So I is immediate to me and then someone other than I. So Jiva and Ishvara, Pratyak and Paroksha, that is somewhere yonder, away. So Pratyak Parokshadi, so like that, one is Pratyak, the other is Paroksha, that is away. And then one has got all-knowing, omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent, whereas the other one is just limited in knowledge, pervasiveness, and power also, and limited by time, space, and object, and so on. So all these are vihaya. This is given up. Sangruya tayoho chidatmatam sansodita lakshanaya cha lakshita. So that is given up, and one should arrive at one's notion, one's self, the real self. One should arrive at. So these are to be given up and arrive at one's pure consciousness. Tayoho chidatmatam, the pure consciousness, through sanshodita, through contemplation on the lakshartha, lakshanayacha lakshita, on the lakshartha, on the indicative meaning. So through thorough contemplation, one has to arrive at that with thorough analysis. And then jnatva swam atmanam atha advayoho bhavet. Then, having realized oneself to be that pure consciousness, absolute one, then one becomes advayaha. One cannot say one becomes advayaha. One is at all times advayaha. Because of ignorance, wrong identities, we have the experience of duality. So once we know the self, then we know that it is non-dual reality. Other than the self, nothing exists. They are all superimpositions only. So having realized this self that is non-dual, and that which is infinite is always non-dual. As the river flows into the ocean, it merges into the ocean, it loses its name and form and becomes one with the infinite, with the seemingly shoreless ocean. So like that, and at the same time, another example that is common, as we wake up from the dream state into the waking plane of consciousness, then the dream world and the dreamer and the dream experience instantly vanishes. And similarly, awakening to a higher dimension of consciousness, then from that state, we don't take anything in this waking world seriously. So everything disappears, everything dissolves. So that is jnatva swamatmanam atha advayo bhavet. One attains to that non-dual reality. Now, having said that, we move on to the next shloka, shlok 27. Ekatmakatva jahati na sambhavet tatha lakshanata virodhatah soyam padartha vidabhaga lakshana yujjet tattvam apado yordoshatah. Ekatmatvat jahati na sambhavet तथा अजहत लक्षणता विरोधतः सह अयम पदार्थ इव भागलक्षणा युज्येत तत्वम पदयोः अदोषतः. So now here ekatmatvat, so they are in the lakshartha, they are one, but this we have seen already in the Vakya Vritti, Jahat Lakshana and Ajahat Lakshana. Jahat Lakshana is what? The original meaning is discarded and the indicative meaning is taken from that. That is, completely the sentence is discarded. That is, like, my house is on the ocean. So we know that house cannot be on the ocean. So that is completely discarded, and then it must be very close to the sea. That is taken up. So this is Jahad Lakshana. So this cannot be applied. Then Ajati Lakshana, that something is added to the statement. As the example often quoted is the red ran. So the one who is discussing about this, they know that actually the red horse ran, or the black one, or the black horse one, whatever it is. So something is added to make the meaning complete. So both this Jahata and Ajahati Lakshana, they cannot be applied in this Tatmamasi Vakya. You see, so Ahajat Lakshanata also, that is also Virodata. So then Sah Ayam Padartha Eva Bhaga Lakshana. So here Bhaga Tyaga Lakshana has to be applied. That is, something is retained and something is discarded. Like if we say that the Gupta of 1951 in Delhi, the businessman Gupta of 1951 in Delhi, is this sannyasi of 2001 in Kashi. So now the time is separate, 1951 and 2001 is discarded. The businessman and sannyasi is discarded. The time, the Delhi and Kashi is discarded. And then the man is the same one. The same Gupta is now here as a sannyasi. The man is the same. So something is discarded, something is retained. So this Bhaga Tyaga Lakshana is taken in proving this Tattvamasi Vahavakya. So the upadhis of Tat and Tvam, Tat Ishvara, the upadhi is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, and that of this, and then of course Maya is the upadhi, and these are the nature. And then for Jiva, Ajnana is the upadhi, Avidya is the upadhi, and then it is limited by time, space, and object, and it is Alpadnya. It is limited in knowledge also, in power also, and in presence also, pervasiveness. So now these upadhis are discarded. When these upadhis are discarded, then that Tat Ishwaram and Tvam Jiva, then they are one in pure consciousness. Then what remains is pure consciousness. If the upadhis are discarded, then it is the same Brahman alone and nothing else. So this is how this Bhaga Tyaga Lakshana is done. We have discussed this elaborately in Vakya Vritti. So now all of you are very much expert in that. Now we move on to the next shloka. Now next three shlokas, Prabhu Ramchandra ji describes the evolution of the gross, subtle, and the causal body. He talks about the gross, subtle, and causal body, how it is prepared, and the purpose, and its implications, and so on. From 28, 29, and the 30th verse, the three bodies are discussed here. These Sthul, Sukshma, and Karan Sharira, that has been discussed in Tattva Bodh also, Atma Bodh also, Vivek Chudamani also. Tattva Bodh preliminary, Atma Bodh little more advanced, more detailed, and the most detailed in Vivek Chudamani. Now here, Prabhu Ramchandra talks about the gross body, Annamaya Kosha, in the 20th shloka. Rasadi Panchi Krutabhuta Sambhavam Bhogalayam Dukha Sukhadi Karmana Shariramaadyantavadadi Karmajam Mayamayam Stulamupadhimatmanah. Rasadi Panchikruta Bhuta Sambhavam Bhogalayam Dukha Sukhadi Karmanam Shariram Adyantavad Adi Karmajam Mayam Ayam Stulam Upadim Atmanah. Now, Rasadi Panchikruta Bhuta Sambhavam. Panchikruta. We have seen in Atma Bodha and of course in Tattva Bodha and Vivek Chudamani. This Panchikruta is pentamerous self-division and combination of the five great elements. Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, and Prithvi. They are the five great elements. So this is pentamerous mutual division and combination. How is this done? In brief, we'll discuss this. So space is there. So half of the space is retained as it is. It is divided into two. So half is retained as it is. The remaining half is divided into four parts. So similarly, first is divided into half. All the five Panchamahabhutas divided into half. Then one half is retained as it is. The second half is divided further into four. And this four will go to the four other Panchamahabhutas, four other elements. So space is half and the other half is divided into four parts. One part will go to Vayu, and then the other part to Agni, Jal and Prithvi. Similarly, Vayu, again that element is divided into half. Half is retained as it is, the other half divided into four. So one part will go to the space, and Agni, Jal and Prithvi, and so on. So this is called as Panchikruta, grossification. So pentamerous grossification, that is through mutual division and combination. So this is Panchikruta Bhuta Sambhavam. So this grossified Panchamahabhuta, from that this gross body has been formed. So, and how is it formed? This is an important factor. So from this Panchamahabhuta, grossified Panchamahabhuta, the gross bodies are formed. So everybody's gross body should be similar, isn't it? Exactly carbon copy, photocopy. But that is not so. Why that is not so? Because though it is born out of this grossified Panchamahabhuta, it is a product of karmana. So actually it is born out of karmaja. You see, shariram adi antavad adi karmajam. It is born out of karmajam. So this raw material is there, and how the raw material should take the shape of the form, that is determined by what karmas we have done. So karmajam. So raw material is same for everyone, but how that body takes the shape, size, color, and all that thing, that depends upon the karma. The inside things, the organs and all that thing. So that depends upon the karma, what karma we have done. And then, so we have already provided the blueprint. The raw material is there with the Lord, and we have provided the blueprint for our specific form. So according to that blueprint, now the raw material will be used, same raw material is used for everyone. But the way it is shaped up, that depends upon the karma. So we have given the blueprint according to the karmas that we have performed. And then according to that blueprint, then the gross body is formed. So Rasadi Panchikruta Sambhavam, and then Karmajam, this is born out of karma. And then this is Bhogalayam, Dukkha Sukhadi. So this is a counter to experience Dukkha and Sukha. Here Prabhu Ramchandra has put Dukkha before Sukha. Generally we say Sukha Dukkha. But here he has put Dukkha first and then Sukha. Because most of the time it is Dukkha only, Sukha is very less. So Dukkha Sukhadi. And then it is the counter Bhogalaya. And then this Bhogalaya, this body has been built by karma, by every action, by every thought, by every emotion that we entertain throughout our life. So the quality of emotions, feelings, and sentiments that we entertain in our mind, the quality of thoughts in our intellect, and the actions that we perform. So they are the software, or they are the blueprint, rather. So they are the blueprint that we give, because he is sitting with the raw material, how to shape it. That depends upon the blueprint that we give, according to what karmas we perform, what thoughts we entertain, and what feelings, emotions, and sentiments we entertain in our mind. So that will go into forming the gross body. So Bhogalaya Dukkha Sukhadi Karmanam Shariram Adi Antavad. So this is created in time and therefore will be destroyed in time. It has got a beginning and it will end at some point in time. Adi Antavad Karmaja. So this body and their quality. So therefore, everybody's mind is not same, intellect is not the same, sense organs are not the same. So they have different, some are extremely emotional, some are less emotional, some are hard-hearted and so on. Some are geniuses, brilliant, intelligent, average intelligent, below average intelligent, outright duffers. So these are all the way it goes, that is determined by what body, what type of mind, what type of intellect, what type of sense organs and all that thing. That is determined by our own action, karma, thoughts and feelings that we entertain. That is the blueprint the Lord gets. Maya mayam stulam. So this is all the product of Maya. So all forms, they are all limited by time. Therefore, it has got Adi and Anta. This gross and subtle body, so they are due to this causal body. Maya means avidya. Ignorance is the cause of all these things. And this is the upadi, Maya mayam, stulam upadi atmana. This is the upadi of the self. Now, but the self is not affected by this gross body, gross, subtle or causal body. It is not affected by that, their modification and all that. So in avidya, we get identified with this. In ignorance, we get identified with these upadis, and then we suffer. So we identify with the body, mind, intellect, and we suffer. So we suffer its limitations, its modifications, and so on. Now here Prabhu Ramchandraji is talking, describing about the Twampada. Now if we have to grow out of this gross body identification, then we have to overcome alasya, nidra, pramada. Alasya is laziness, nidra is excessive sleep. Nidra normally means sleep, but here nidra means, if it is tamasic lakshana, means excessive sleep. And pramada, pramada is committing the same mistake again and again. We continue to commit the same errors again and again. That is pramada. That is all the lakshana, the signs of a tamasic person. For a tamasic person, he is lazy, excessive is there, and keeps on committing the same mistake because of manda buddhi, low in intellect. Once one person was supposed to travel by train to some long distance travel. So he came with his servant to the station, and then he wanted to check which is the compartment he has to board. So he was searching for the ticket, and then he discovered that he doesn't have the ticket. So he told the servant, go and see if I have left the ticket on the table. So the servant runs home and then comes back. Then he tells his master that, yes, you have left the ticket on the table. The servant didn't have the presence of mind to bring the ticket. He said, yeah, I've seen that it is there on the table. This is called as pramada. So alasya, nidra, pramada. So if you have to overcome the identity with the gross body, we have to overcome this alasya, nidra, pramada. Then we go on to the subtle body now, in the 29th shloka. Sukshmang mano buddhi dashendriyer yutam pranayra panchi kruta bhuta sambhavam bhuktu sukhader anusadhanam bhavet shariramanya viduratmano buddhaha. Sukshmam mano buddhi dashendriyahi yutam pranaihi panchikruta apanchikruta bhuta sambhavam bhoktuhu sukhadehe anusadhanam bhavet shariram anyat viduhu atmanah buddhaha. So now the subtle body. Now Prabhu Ramchandraji speaks about the subtle body. Subtle body comprises of these 17 things. So what are the 17 things? The sense organs, 5 organs of action, pancha prana, the 5 pranas, prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, the pancha pranas, 15, and mana and buddhi, mind and intellect. So these are the 17. So these 17 together comprises this sukshma. So the sukshma sharira, or the subtle body. Or in short, we can call it 3 koshas are there. In the pancha kosha, the gross body is the annamaya kosha. Then after the gross body is the pranamaya kosha, that is the vital air sheath, manomaya kosha, the mental sheath, and vijnanamaya kosha, the intellectual sheath. So these 3 koshas, pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, and vijnanamaya kosha, together comprises of this subtle body, the sukshma sharira. The sukshmam mano buddhim dashendriya yutam pranaihi apanchakruta bhuta sambham, and they are formed from apanchakruta, ungrossified. The gross body was formed from the grossified panchamahabhuta, and here the subtle body is formed from ungrossified panchamahabhuta, that is by tanmatra. What are the tanmatras of this panchabhutas? The tanmatras are the shabda sparsha rupa rasa gandha. The tanmatra of the space is sound. Vayu is the sense of touch. Agni is the colors and forms. The tanmatra of jala is rasa, the taste. And the tanmatra of Pruti Tattva is the smell, gandha. So through that, this sukshma sharira is formed. Then, bhoktuhu sukhadehe anusadhanam bhavet. So they are the instruments of experiences of dukkha, sukha, dukkha, and so on, different types of experiences. And then shariram anyat viduhu atmanaha buddhaha. So this upadhi, these instruments belonging to the self, is considered as the sukshma sharira. Now, if we have to transcend the sukshma sharira, then what we should do? We should not yield to the modifications of this mind intellect equipment. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, desire, anger, greed, delusion, arrogance, jealousy. So these are the major modifications of the mind. There are many other modifications of the mind. And this can be done through viveka and vairagya and surrendering to the Lord and the Guru. So this is the sukshma sharira. And the third one is the causal body. So in the causal body, 30th shloka, anyadya nirvachamapiha karanam maya pradhanam tu param sharirakam upadi bheda tu yata pruthaksitam swatmanam atmanyava dharayet kramat. Anadi anirvachyam api iha karanam maya pradhanam tu param sharirakam upadi bhedat tu yatah pruthak sthitam swatmanam atmani iva avadharayet kramat. So this is the causal body, variously called as Maya with reference to Ishvara. You see, Maya with reference to Ishvara, Pradhanam according in the Sankhya Yoga with reference to Sankhya Yoga, and Param it is called Param Shariram. This is the supreme Shariram because causal body is the cause of the gross and the subtle body. So Param Shariram. Param Shariram. Because now the gross body is negated. How is negated? Gross body is negated by negating the waking plane of consciousness. And waking plane is negated by not giving value to the waking experiences. Waking world and its experiences, we don't give value to that. That is how we negate the waking plane of consciousness. And when we start giving, when do we give zero value to the waking world? Only when we have understood thoroughly through viveka that there is no joy, pleasure, or happiness in the external world. Then only we'll start giving zero value to the external world, not otherwise. If we feel that we can derive some joy, pleasure, or happiness from the external world, we'll not give zero value. And therefore, negating the waking world is not easy. So that is how we negate the waking world. So gross body is then conquered. Then to conquer the subtle body, we have to consider everything as a duty, our karma. We have to consider it as a duty. Then, and we have to perform with devotion. Whatever duties have to be performed, that has to be performed with devotion. So then we can conquer the subtle body. We should not have the ego or arrogance of doing something good karma or feeling bad about something wrong happens. But that also gives what you call a sense of guilt. That is also a cause to which also says that we are grossly identified with our subtle body. And to conquer the causal body is ignorance, you see. So to conquer the causal body, the simple thing is we have to study the scriptures. Then whatever scriptures this tell us, then we have to contemplate on the scriptural statements and realize the truth. What is the reality of this Jagat, Jeev Jagat Ishvara, and then realize the truth that is our own self. When life expresses spontaneously through us, so it is a sign that we are transcending the causal body. We don't have any hang-ups. So this way, now we have seen the three gross, subtle, and the causal body Prabhu Ramchandraji had described. Further on this, we will take up in our next session. Now, if anybody has got any questions, so they can ask.
Pankaj bhai?
Yeah.
I thought there is no question. Everybody is in silence.
No, Swamiji, I have this question, but I am waiting for others to start, because I have a little longish explanation from you for the certain things which I have not understood. Anybody else?
Sai Ram.
Yeah.
Sai Ram,
Yes.
Swamiji.
Yes.
I think we are all in a state of awe. We cannot talk.
And you are that awe, you see.
Yes. So beautifully said, yes.
So that is our own self we are talking about. Scriptures describe, you see, once one Mahatma Ji was reading Bhagavad. So he was sitting in his room and reading Bhagavad. One of his devotees, one of his followers, one of his disciples came, and some grosthas came. Maharaj, you are reading this. So he thought that now he is a Mahatma, he doesn't have to read all these books. So he asked him, you are reading this, where is the need to read this? So this Mahatma Ji told that person, I'm just reading to find out what they have written about. So when we are studying the scriptures, we are studying our own self. Our true self we are studying.
It's so beautifully said. Thank you very much, Swamiji.
Swamiji, can I start now?
Yes.
See, yesterday I had a question I had written down, and I got the answer today morning. And I want you to read out the answer and to say whether it's correct. I'll read out the question. Non-apprehension of the rope creates the misapprehension of snake, right? When rope is correctly apprehended, misapprehension of snake also ends, or say superimposition of the snake disappears. Now, when it is applied to us, similarly, the non-apprehension of the Brahman or pure consciousness or I creates the misapprehension of Jagat. Now, when my true nature is correctly apprehended, what in your words, aparoksha bodh happens. My ignorance of my real nature is destroyed, resulting in the self-realization. Now, at that time, Swamiji, what happens to the Jagat? Yes, it's a subjective knowledge I get about the myself. But the Jagat of Nam and Rupa is going to be there. Is just like snake disappears, Jagat is not going to disappear.
See, it is like this. When we perceive this world, when we realize the self and perceive the world, with what we are perceiving? Are we perceiving with the Charma Chakshu or Jnana Chakshu? When we perceive the world with Jnana Chakshu, Ekameva Advityam, there is nothing other than myself. And with the Charma Chakshu, we will continue to see, even though we know mirage water we see. Now, when in ignorance, we were thirsty and we were running after mirage water, isn't it? And then now we know the reality of mirage water. Now, even if we are thirsty, we'll not run after that. But we'll continue seeing it, having known there is no such thing as this mirage water, it is an illusion. So, in the desert, when we see this mirage water, we'll not run after that. In ignorance, we are running after that. Now, even if we are thirsty, we'll not run after that. That is the difference. So, having realized the self, will not run after the names and forms of this world. We'll continue to see that with the Charma Chakshu. But we know that nothing other than self exists. They are only appearances, like mirage water appears. There is no reality to that. So the sun rises and sun sets. We continue to see that, though scientifically it has been proven, sun neither rises nor it sets. It is the rotatory motion of the earth projected, or a rotatory motion of the earth and the revolution around the sun projected on the sun gives an illusion of movement of the sun across the sky. So now we know the truth, but we still continue to see the sun rising in the east and setting in the west. This is what it is. That doesn't affect us. So having realized the truth, this world will continue the way it appears to us, but that is not going to affect us and will not run after that.
So there is no juice left in the world.
There is no rasa, because you are enjoying Amrit rasa, you see. So therefore, Mahatmajis are very happy. They live anywhere in the forest, in the caves, in the mountains, here and there, anywhere. They live in a hut also. They are very happy there because they are enjoying the Atma Rasa, Atmananda. They don't have to do anything with the world outside.
Swamiji, so when you are in this state, after this, what happens? When does the Jagat disappear, so to say?
Jagat, as long as the Jagat has disappeared with the knowledge of the self.
Yes.
What does it mean Jagat has disappeared? That means you have seen through that. You have seen the rope, the snake is no more there. You have seen the desert sand at the substratum of the mirage water. And therefore, and you know, mirage water is no water, you will not get diluted by mirage water. So that will happen. And you are least interested in the outside world. The so-called outside world, you are least interested because you know there is no reality to that. There is only a relative reality to that. You will not be bothered about it. You will be reveling in the bliss within. You see? So you have got nothing to do with that. And that is what all of us seek. All of us, without exception, want to be happy, isn't it? Whoever it may be, whether one is spiritual or not, everybody wants to be happy without exception. whichever part of the world, whichever religion one person may belong to, whichever race, nationality, anything. Everybody wants to be happy. And that happiness has to be permanent. It should not be temporary. So therefore, this is the best way. Once we have realized the self, then we have attained the highest goal of human existence. Then what have we got to do with the world around us? Then, since the ego is dissolved, certain actions will be performed through our body. That is only divinity expressing through the body. We are not doing anything. There is no karta bhokta because the ego itself is not there. So expression will be only divine through the body. Some words may come out, some expressions may come out, some actions may come out of the body, but they are all spontaneous and they are divine expressing to that form. That's all. And there is no doership notion to that. Karta bhav, bhokta bhav is not there.
Okay, Swamiji, the second question. Can I go ahead? Auntie, just give me 1 minute.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, okay, you go ahead, Auntie. Auntie, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, that means that Charma Chakshu and the body will continue. It will never perish.
That will drop off. When the prarabdha is over, it will drop off. Prarabdha of whom? Prarabdha of Jiva. Now Jiva is no more because Mahatma Ji has realized the self, he has no prarabdha. He has neither sanchit karma nor agami karma because that has been burnt out. Jnanagni, the fire of knowledge. And whereas the prarabdha belongs to that Jiva, and Jiva is also no more there because the ego is dissolved. So whose body is that? And whose prarabdha is that? Nobody. So Mahatma Ji doesn't suffer because of that.
No, that is okay. It doesn't suffer because it knows itself, and but then the body continues. There is no way to get rid of.
Body will continue until the prarabdha is there. The prarabdha finishes, the body will drop off because it is like the bullet shot off from the gun. So when you shoot a bullet from the gun, it goes up, and then after its velocity is over, it will start falling down. So this body will fall off. After all the prarabdha karmas are over, the body will fall off. That's all. In its own time.
Swamiji, what happens to our upadhis and all? After realization, that also goes away? Because it is we realize it. Other people who are surrounding us, they don't get realization. So what happens to upadhis and all this thing? Where does it go?
Swamiji, let them realize first and then we'll get
It doesn't matter.
No, when we are talking about world disappears and it's like, what happens like, that also comes to an end automatically as like a prarabdha karma and all.
The prarabdha karma, that no more prarabdha affects us because prarabdha belongs to the jiva. There is no jiva anymore because the ego that was called the jiva has been dissolved as soon as we realize the self. Now what happens to the body? Who cares about that? How the others treat? There is no sense of otherness in us. So when we realize the self, remember this very well. Now this is the problem with people when they have not gone deeper into that. When we realize the self, this question will not come. What will others do? Because there is no sense of otherness in us. We don't see at others as others. So where is this one who has realized the self? This question is coming from the one who has not realized the self. What will the other think? I have realized, but what about the others? How will they treat me?
What happens with our upadhi? That is what, like,
Upadhi, what is this upadhi? Upadhi is the gross physical body, sense organs, pranas, mind, intellect, isn't it?
Yes.
These are the upadhis, these instruments will continue as long as the prarabdha is there. As soon as the prarabdha is dropped, prarabdha is over, the body gets dropped. Along with all the upadhis. We don't have to do anything about it.
Then people will think that you have become emotionless, you have become thick-skinned, you don't have...
No, it is not that. The thing is that you express, but now there will be love, pure unconditional love, no attachment, no more attachment to the entire existence.
All more maya goes away.
That more maya goes away, no attachment will be there. There will be love, no doubt. But because the entire existence you are seeing as your extension of your own existence. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. We love ourselves the most. And when we see the entire existence as our own self, then what is left? So we love ourselves the most. So therefore, there will be a natural love for the entire existence.
Thank
Swamiji,
you. Hari Om.
So
Swamiji,
that one small second. That
Yeah.
means Swamiji is seeing the rasgulla, the ras remains, the gola goes away.
Neither ras remains nor the gola remains. The rasgulla's rasa has gone long back, because now you are enjoying the rasa of Atmananda. That rasgulla you leave away.
So, Swamiji, according to Hemaben, she wants other to realize first so that they know that she is also realized.
Who cares about? Because there is no sense of otherness. That is why I said, you are asking this question from the point of view of ignorance. After realization, you will not have this question, because then you consider the entire existence as an extension of your own existence. Who are others? There are no others for you then.
No, but when you can ask question that what happens about a jagat, what happens about this, so I'm feeling I'm entitled to ask this question.
Yeah, you are entitled to ask the
People
question.
will think that this woman has become mad, like,
No.
she-
You are entitled to ask the question, but then this question will not arise in your mind when you realize the self, because the entire existence is an extension of your own existence. So where is the question coming up? What will others think? What will others do? And what will others think about my behavior? No, absolutely not. Mahatmaji does whatever he feels like. Who cares? They don't care.
No, what happens to upadhis? I said, like, suppose I'm
No,
today
upadhi-
mother. Today I'm a mother.
upadhi-
I realize then, but still I remain in that form, like,
Upadhi means you are talking about the relationships.
yeah,
Upadhi-
relationship, upadhis,
Upadhi
everything.
means Upadhi generally means, like we discussed now, gross body, causal body, subtle body. They are the
Ji.
upadhis.
No,
So,
I'm talking generally
You are
about
talking about the relationship.
relations.
Ah,
Relations.
then you have relationless relationship.
Exactly.
Born out of pure love.
Okay, that will be transformed into pure love.
There is no attachment. Love will be there, of course. There is no attachment.
Okay.
Yeah, Swamiji, now coming to the serious question, what I gather from all the past lectures and particularly Rama Geeta is that if one wants to realize oneself, there is no other way than Shravan, Manan and Nididhyasa.
Yes.
Is it so?
Yes. There is no other way. Jnana is the only way. Jnana vihena sarva matena bhajatina muktim janmashatena. So knowledge is required. Self-knowledge is required. That is the only way. All the followers of the path of devotion also, they got the knowledge of the self. You see, whether it was Namdev Maharaj or Eknath Maharaj or Tukaram Maharaj, they were all followers of the path of devotion. They had the knowledge of the self.
But through this process, Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasa,
They were guided to that. See, Namdev Maharaj was captivated by the name and form of Lord Vithala. And Lord Vithala knew very well, if he is caught up in my name and form, he will never realize the self, which is beyond the name and form. So he was sent to Visoba Khechar, his guru. Lord Vithala himself sent Namdev Maharaj to Visoba Khechar to get the jnana, to have the knowledge. Similarly, we have Ramakrishna Paramahams also. He was lost in the name and form of Mother Goddess, and she knew very well, if he is caught up in the name and form of this Mother Goddess, then of course he will never realize the self, the truth beyond the name and form. And therefore Totapuri Maharaj was sent to him to give knowledge. So that is how they had the knowledge of the self.
I think Swamiji, our what do you call through all these lectures and through various books and now Ram Gita, our path is narrowing down, it seems.
Yes, one has to progress. Slowly but steadily we have to progress. There is no other way out. We cannot discard or reject that, what we are. You see, last time we discussed this fact also, that there cannot be an atheist. To be an atheist, one should be able to deny one's own existence. So we have that absolute truth in that ignorance also, and we have to realize it, and one day we'll realize it, sooner than later.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Okay, so shall we conclude?
Yes, Swamiji.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om.